Have you ever told yourself, I'll start tomorrow? You say it quietly, maybe with hope, maybe with guilt. Tomorrow, it sounds like a promise. But then, tomorrow arrives, and somehow you still don't begin. Maybe you've said, I'll start practicing English when I'm less busy. I'll join a class when I have more time. I'll speak when I feel confident. But days pass. Weeks pass. And you're still waiting for that perfect moment. I want to tell you a small secret. The perfect time you're waiting for doesn't exist. I've met many learners who believe they'll learn better when life feels right. But life never stops. There's always work, family, stress, or fear. If you wait for the perfect time, you'll keep waiting forever. I remember one of my students, Maya. She was smart, funny, and full of dreams. But every time I asked her to speak in English, she smiled and said, Zara, not today. I'll speak next week when I'm ready. But next week never came. She had notebooks full of English words, grammar rules written in colorful pens. But her mouth stayed quiet. Her confidence? Hidden behind, maybe later. Does that sound familiar? Have you ever kept something inside because you didn't feel ready? It happens to all of us. You see, waiting feels safe. It gives us an excuse to stay comfortable. But comfort is a slow trap. While you wait, time moves quietly forward. Imagine a small seed sitting in the dark soil. It dreams of becoming a tree strong and tall. But it says, I'll grow when the weather is perfect. The days pass. Rain falls. Sun shines. But the seed waits. And one day it realizes it has already missed the spring. That's what happens when you wait for the perfect time to start learning English. You miss your spring, your season to grow. So today, I want to take you on a journey. We're not just going to learn English words. We're going to feel what it means to stop waiting and start now. Because when you stop waiting, you start living. When you start speaking, even small words, you plant your spring. In this story, I'll show you how Maya's life changed and how your English can grow faster than you ever thought possible. Let's begin. Why do we wait? It's not because we're lazy. It's because we're scared. Scared of failing. Scared of sounding wrong. Scared of people judging us. So we tell ourselves sweet little lies. I'll start when I'm ready. I'll practice when I'm fluent. I'll speak when I know more words. But here's the truth. You'll never feel ready until you start. Think of a baby learning to walk. Does the baby say, I'll start walking after I study balance? No. It takes one step, then falls. Then tries again. That's how humans learn everything, including English. So, when you wait for the perfect time, you're not protecting yourself. You're blocking your own growth. I remember when Maya first joined my online class. She wrote perfect grammar in chat. But when I called her to speak, silence. A soft, nervous laugh. Then she said, maybe next time. I asked her gently, Maya, what are you waiting for? She smiled shyly and said, when I feel more confident. But confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after action. Like sunlight after dawn, you don't see it until you rise. So I told Maya, let's just start with one sentence. One simple sentence. Today. She hesitated. Then she whispered, my name is Maya. I like to learn English. That was all. But her face, it glowed. Because she realized something important. Starting small is still starting. And I want you to realize that too. Even if you just listen to this story today and repeat one new sentence aloud, you've already moved forward. That's one step closer to fluency. So tell yourself, right now, I'm not waiting anymore. Say it quietly. Say it with heart. I'm not waiting anymore. Good. You've just started your new English journey. Maya had always dreamed of speaking English fluently. Not because she wanted to show off, but because she wanted freedom. She loved English movies. She loved songs with English lyrics. But she always watched with subtitles on. Every time she heard people speak fast English, she felt a little smaller inside. She would whisper to herself one day, "I'll understand everything." But one day kept moving farther and farther away. Every morning before work, she opened her notebook, looked at her list of English goals, and then closed it. She told herself, "I'm too tired today. I'll study on the weekend. I'll start when I feel ready." But weekends turned into months, and her dream stayed the same, quiet and waiting. One evening, Maya sat on her balcony. The sky was orange and pink, and the city below was noisy cars, people, laughter, life. She had her phone in her hand, watching an English video. The speaker said something that caught her heart. He said, "If you wait until you're ready, you'll spend your whole life waiting." Maya froze. Her heart beat a little faster. It felt like those words were talking directly to her. She whispered, "Yes, that's me." For a few minutes, she stayed silent. Then she smiled softly, a tired but honest smile. That night, she decided something small but powerful. She didn't promise herself to study for hours. She didn't plan a big change. She just said, "Tomorrow morning, I'll speak one English sentence out loud." Just one. The next morning came. Maya stood in front of her mirror. Her reflection looked nervous. She opened her mouth and stopped. Her heart was racing. She tried again. "My name is Maya." Her voice was soft, shaking. She paused. Then she smiled. "I like learning English." That's it. Only 2 simple sentences. But in that moment, she felt something shift inside. She laughed not because it was perfect, but because she finally started. That tiny action, 2 sentences, was the beginning of everything. From that day, Maya made a new rule for herself: never wait. Just do a little bit now. She didn't wait for confidence. She didn't wait for the right time. She didn't wait for someone to tell her she was ready. Every morning, she spoke 3 sentences out loud. Sometimes while making tea. Sometimes while walking to work. Sometimes quietly before bed. She didn't care if it sounded strange. She didn't care if nobody listened. She just spoke. And something amazing happened. Her voice started sounding more natural. Her ears started catching more English sounds. She started to think in English, just a little bit each day. After 2 weeks, she sent me a voice message. Her voice was still shy, but it was filled with life. "Zara," she said, "I don't know what happened, but I finally feel like English is part of me. I don't need to wait anymore." I could hear her smile through her voice. I wrote back, "Maya, that's because you started living English, not waiting for it." Maybe you can relate to her. Maybe you're also standing in that same place, where you want to start, but fear is whispering, "Not yet." I want you to hear me clearly now. You don't have to speak perfectly. You just have to begin. Because fluency is not built in one day. It's built in moments like this, when you choose to speak instead of waiting. So right now, I want you to repeat after me. Yes, really say it out loud. I am ready now. I will not wait for the perfect time. Every small step counts. Good. You just spoke English with confidence. That's what growth sounds like. Maya's small promise to herself became the seed of her transformation. But her story doesn't stop there. Because when you start, truly start, life begins to respond. Opportunities appear. Confidence grows. And soon, you realize that English isn't something you study, it's something you live. Change doesn't start with a big moment. It begins quietly, almost invisibly. Like the first drop of rain before a storm, like the first breath before a song. That's how Maya's transformation began. Every morning, she spoke only a few English sentences. Sometimes to her reflection, sometimes to her cat, sometimes to the empty air. At first, it felt strange. Her tongue moved slowly, her voice felt small. But she kept going. She didn't push herself too hard. She didn't demand perfection. She only asked herself for one thing: don't skip a day. One evening, after a long day at work, Maya was tired and almost forgot her promise. She sat on her bed, looked at her notebook, and sighed. Her mind said, "Not tonight. You can practice tomorrow." But then she smiled. She remembered her own rule: never wait. So she opened her phone, played a short English clip, a simple one, and repeated the sentences softly. "Today was difficult, but I am proud of myself." She said it twice. And something beautiful happened. Her voice sounded more confident than before. She felt proud, not because she spoke perfectly, but because she kept her word. Consistency. That's the quiet power most people forget. You see, big goals often scare us. We look at the mountain and think, "I'll never reach the top." But if you take one small step every day, one day you'll realize you've already climbed higher than you imagined. That's exactly what happened to Maya. After 3 weeks, her coworker, Rena, asked her, "Maya, your English sounds better. Are you taking a course?" Maya laughed softly. "No," she said. "I just talk to myself every morning." Rena looked surprised. "To yourself?" Maya nodded. "Yes. It feels funny, but it works." And it really did. Because speaking aloud every day trained Maya's brain to think in English. When she saw an object, a cup, a chair, the sky, she started naming it in English automatically. When she heard new words, she didn't translate anymore. She just understood. Her brain was rewiring itself, step by step, word by word. And the best part? She started enjoying it. Every evening, she made a small routine. She brewed a cup of tea, sat by the window, and listened to short English stories. Sometimes she repeated sentences aloud. Sometimes she just listened and smiled. It became her peaceful time, her English moment. One night, she wrote in her diary, "Today I spoke without fear. I made mistakes, but I felt free. I don't want to be perfect. I just want to be better than yesterday." That's when I knew Maya was no longer just learning English. She was living it. I want you to think about this for a moment. You don't need to wait for a big change to start improving your English. You just need small, gentle steps done daily. Try this. Tomorrow morning, before breakfast, speak 3 simple sentences out loud. They can be about anything. For example, "The sun is shining. I'm ready to learn. I believe in myself." That's it. That's your start. It doesn't matter if your pronunciation isn't perfect. It doesn't matter if you forget words. What matters is you're moving forward. After 1 month, Maya noticed something interesting. Her fear of speaking disappeared, not suddenly, but slowly, quietly, like morning mist fading under sunlight. One day, her manager asked her to join an online meeting with an international client. Before, she would have panicked. But this time, she smiled and said, "Yes, I can join." During the meeting, she spoke a few simple sentences in English. Her voice was calm. Her heart was steady. When the meeting ended, her manager said, "Maya, you spoke so naturally. Great job." She felt tears in her eyes. Because this was the same girl who once couldn't say, "My name is Maya," without fear. After that day, Maya realized something powerful. Confidence isn't a gift. It's a result. A result of small actions repeated daily. Just like water shapes stone over time, your small English habits shape your confidence and your future. So if you're listening to me right now and you've been waiting for the perfect time to start speaking, please remember Maya. She didn't wait for the right time. She created it one small sentence at a time. When people see Maya now, they often ask her, "How did you change so much? How did you become confident in English?" And she always smiles and says the same thing: "I just started, and I didn't stop." No magic. No secret trick. Just a small daily habit. So in this section, I want to show you how you can build your own Start Now habit, a simple system that helps you learn English without fear, pressure, or waiting. Step 1. Make it so small you can't say no. When people start learning English, they often create big, heavy goals. I'll study for 2 hours every day. I'll finish this whole grammar book. But after 3 days, they feel tired and give up. That's because our brain doesn't like big pressure. It loves small, easy wins. So, make your English goal tiny. Something you can do even on your busiest day. For example, I'll listen to English for 5 minutes. I'll speak one short paragraph. I'll write 3 simple sentences. That's all. Just 5 minutes. You see, 5 minutes may look small, but it's powerful because it tells your brain, I'm a person who practices every day. And once you start, something amazing happens. 5 minutes often becomes 10. 10 becomes 20. And suddenly, learning feels natural, not forced. Step 2. Connect it with something you already do. Habits grow best when they connect to your life. Think of your daily routine. You wake up, brush your teeth, make breakfast, check your phone. Now, what if you attach your English practice to one of these things? For example, while brushing your teeth, repeat 5 English words in your head. While drinking tea, say 1 English sentence out loud. While walking to school or work, listen to an English podcast or story. That way, learning becomes part of your day, not something extra you have to plan. You don't find time for English. You blend English into your time. Step 3. Don't focus on perfect, focus on present. When Maya first started, she made many mistakes. She forgot words. She mixed tenses. Sometimes she said something funny and then blushed. But she didn't stop. Because she realized something, you don't need to be perfect to be proud. The goal is not to speak perfectly. The goal is to speak today. Every word you say, even with mistakes, is a seed for your future fluency. When you make mistakes, your brain learns faster. It says, oh, next time I'll say it this way. That's how real fluency is built, through action, not fear. So, if you ever feel nervous or embarrassed, remember what I tell my students: fluency begins where perfection ends. Step 4. Create a small English space around you. You don't need to travel abroad to live in English. You can bring English into your own world right now. Here's how. Change your phone or YouTube language to English. Stick small English notes on your wall. For example, write mirror, door, light, and place them around. Choose one English song and sing along slowly with meaning. Follow one English-speaking creator who talks about something you love, maybe food, travel, or study tips. That's how you turn your environment into a soft English classroom. A place where English feels alive, not distant. Step 5. Celebrate tiny wins. Every time Maya practiced English, she gave herself a small smile. Sometimes she whispered, "Good job, Maya." It sounds simple, but it matters. Our brain needs celebration. When you say, "I did it," your brain releases happiness, and that happiness makes you want to repeat the habit. So, each time you complete your small goal, even if it's just 5 minutes, celebrate it. Say it proudly: I spoke English today. I listened and understood. I'm growing. You're not just learning English. You're building trust with yourself. If you follow these 5 simple steps, you'll notice a quiet change inside you, a gentle shift from waiting to doing. Because success in English is not about how long you study. It's about how often you show up. And when you show up every day, you stop waiting for the perfect time. You create it. One evening, after 2 months of her new routine, Maya sent me another message. She said, "Zara, today I met a tourist who asked for directions. And I answered in English. It wasn't perfect, but it felt amazing." I could feel her excitement. She wasn't scared anymore. She was alive in English. That's what small habits do. They turn your fear into energy, your waiting into action, your dream into reality. Once Maya started speaking every day, she noticed something strange, something wonderful. English was no longer just a language in her books. It was becoming part of her thinking. When she looked at the morning sky, the words came naturally. The sky is clear today. When she tasted her tea, she whispered, "It's warm and sweet." She wasn't translating anymore. She was feeling in English. And that's what I call training your English mind. The problem with translation thinking. Many learners try to speak English by first thinking in their own language, then translating every word into English. That's slow. That's stressful. And it makes you sound robotic, not natural. When you speak your native language, you don't translate. You just talk, right? Your words flow with your feelings. That's what we want in English too. So how do we reach that level? By teaching your brain to connect directly between ideas and English words. It's like building a bridge, a new connection that doesn't pass through translation. Step 1. Start with simple sentences in real life. Each time you see something, say it in English, in your mind, or softly aloud. When you walk outside, the sun is bright. The street is busy. That dog is cute. When you're cooking, I'm cutting onions. The water is boiling. This smells delicious. These small sentences train your brain to describe the world in English, naturally, easily, automatically. Don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about long sentences. Just speak what you see. This is what I call English in the moment. It's real, it's simple, and it slowly rewires your brain to think in English. Step 2. Feel the words. Don't just memorize them. Sometimes, learners memorize words like machines. They repeat them again and again, but when it's time to speak, the words disappear. Why? Because their brain stored the word, but their heart didn't feel it. Let me show you what I mean. Take the word rain. Don't just say rain like a dictionary. Close your eyes. Imagine it. Hear the drops. Smell the air. Feel the cool wind. Now whisper it again, rain. See? Now the word lives inside you. That's the secret to real English fluency. Connection before correction. Connect with the feeling first, and the grammar will follow naturally later. Step 3. Practice thinking aloud. Maya used to do something funny every evening. She talked to herself in English. Sometimes in the kitchen, sometimes in the mirror. She would say things like, "I'm cooking rice now. Oh no, it's too salty. Next time, I'll add less salt." She called it my talking time. At first, it felt silly. But slowly, her speaking speed improved. Her thoughts began forming in English faster, smoother. You can do this too. Choose a quiet place. Talk about what you're doing, what you're feeling, or what you see around you. For example, I'm listening to Zara's voice. I'm learning English peacefully. I'm improving every day. Say these softly. They may sound small, but they're powerful. Because you're not just repeating sentences. You're training your brain to think in English. Step 4. Learn to pause, not panic. When you forget a word, don't freeze. Don't say, "Oh no, my English is bad." Instead, pause and describe it another way. For example, if you forget the word umbrella, you can say, "That thing we use when it rains." If you forget hungry, you can say, "I want to eat something." This is called circumlocution, a fancy word that means explaining around the missing word. Native speakers do this all the time. It's not a mistake, it's communication. So next time you forget a word, smile and find another way. That's real fluency, not knowing every word, but never stopping your message. Step 5. Let English become your second voice. After a few months, Maya told me something beautiful. She said, "Zara, sometimes when I'm quiet, my thoughts come in English without trying." I smiled and said, "That means English has become your second voice." And that's what happens when you stop waiting and start living in the language. You begin to dream a little in English. You think in English. You even talk to yourself in English. It doesn't mean you forget your first language. It just means your world becomes bigger, 2 languages, 2 ways to express your heart. That's something powerful. That's real freedom. Thinking in English isn't about speed or vocabulary. It's about presence. About allowing your mind to relax and let English flow like music, 1 note at a time. And you can start today, just like Maya did. No waiting. No perfect time. Only now. There's a moment every English learner faces. You know the words. You understand the grammar. But when it's time to speak, your heart starts beating fast. Your hands feel cold. Your mind goes blank. Maya used to feel that too. One day, her office manager asked her to introduce herself in English during a meeting. It was only a few sentences, but her mind panicked. She felt every pair of eyes staring at her. Her English, her accent, her mistakes, all of it felt heavy. Afterward, she said to me, "Zara, I knew what to say, but the words just froze inside me." I smiled and told her something I want you to remember too. Confidence doesn't come before you speak. It comes because you speak. 1. Confidence is not born, it's built. When you see someone speaking fluent English with confidence, you might think, wow, they're so talented. But confidence isn't a talent. It's a muscle. And like every muscle, it grows with use. Every time you open your mouth, even with mistakes, you make that muscle stronger. Every time you say, "Hello, can I help you? How are you today?" you are training your confidence. So don't wait to feel confident before speaking. Speak first, and the feeling will follow. 2. The small step method. When Maya told me she was afraid of speaking in meetings, I gave her a simple challenge, the small step method. I told her, start with the smallest possible act of speaking. So first, she practiced saying 1 English sentence per day to her colleague. Day 1, good morning. Day 2, did you have breakfast? Day 3, the weather's nice today. She didn't force long conversations. Just 1 sentence each day. And something beautiful happened. After a week, she started smiling while speaking. After 2 weeks, her fear began to fade. And after a month, she spoke full paragraphs without realizing it. Because small steps repeated daily create unstoppable momentum. So start small. Whisper if you must. But start. 3. Reframing mistakes. The fear of mistakes is the biggest enemy of fluency. But let's be honest, who told you mistakes are bad? Every child learns by making them. You learned your first language that way too. Falling, fumbling, trying again. So why should English be different? When you make a mistake, you're not showing weakness. You're showing courage. Because you dared to try in another language. Here's a truth I want you to remember forever. Mistakes are proof that you're in motion. You can't improve by being silent. You improve by speaking, failing a little, and learning a lot. So next time you say something wrong, don't say sorry. Say, I'm learning. That's the sound of growth. 4. The mirror challenge. When Maya struggled with self-doubt, I told her to do something unusual. Talk to herself in the mirror for 5 minutes every day. She looked at me like I was crazy. But she tried it. She'd look into her own eyes and say things like, I'm learning to speak confidently. My English is improving every day. I'm not afraid anymore. At first, it felt strange. Then, empowering. Because confidence begins with self-image. When you see yourself speaking confidently, your brain starts to believe it's true. It's not magic, it's neuroscience. You're reprogramming your mind to see yourself as capable. Try it tonight. Look into your mirror and say, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm becoming confident now. Say it until your reflection believes you. 5. The power of practice in safe spaces. Fluency grows fastest in safe spaces. That's why Maya joined a small English conversation group online, not to show off, but to practice without pressure. In that group, everyone made mistakes. Everyone laughed. Everyone helped each other. And that's where her confidence exploded. So find your version of a safe space, a study buddy, an online class, a friendly chat community, even a voice note exchange. Speak where you feel supported, not judged. Because confidence blooms in kindness. 6. The inner voice of fear. Sometimes the loudest fear is the one inside. It whispers things like, what if they laugh at me? What if I sound stupid? What if I make a mistake? But here's the truth. Most people don't care about your mistakes. They care about your message. They're listening to your heart, not your grammar. The only person judging you harshly is often you. So learn to talk back to that voice. When it says, you're not good enough, you say, I'm learning, and that's enough. When it says, don't speak, you'll fail, you say, I'll speak because that's how I grow. This is how you build unshakable confidence, by changing your inner conversation. 7. The breakthrough moment. One afternoon, Maya had to give a short English presentation at work. She was nervous, but this time, something felt different. She stood up, took a breath, and began to speak. Her voice shook a little at first, but she kept going. After 2 minutes, she realized no one was laughing. No one was judging. They were listening, smiling, understanding. When she finished, her manager said, "Good job, Maya." Clear and confident. Maya told me later it wasn't perfect. But I didn't freeze. I spoke with my heart. And that's the moment she truly became fluent, not because of perfect grammar, but because of courage. Have you ever studied English for weeks, but felt like nothing was improving? You listen. You read. You speak. But still, your tongue feels heavy. Your mind says, I'm not getting better. If you've ever felt that, you're not alone. Maya felt it too. 1. The silent period of growth. After 3 months of daily English practice, Maya started to feel stuck. She said, Zara, I don't think I'm improving anymore. She was listening to podcasts, reading short stories, but her progress felt invisible. So I told her something I want you to remember. Growth is often silent. You don't always see it, but it's happening. Think of a tree. When you plant a seed, you don't see it grow on the first day, or the second, or the third. But deep underground, roots are spreading. Slowly, silently. Then one day, a tiny green leaf appears. That's how language works too. Your brain is making invisible connections, storing sounds, patterns, words. You may not see progress yet, but it's happening inside you. So, when it feels slow, trust the process. You're growing, even if you can't see it. 2. The comparison trap. One evening, Maya was scrolling through social media. She saw other learners speaking English fluently, smiling, confident, fast. And she thought, why can't I be like them? She forgot something important. People only show their best moments online. They don't show the years of practice, the mistakes, the tears, the late-night study sessions. I told her, don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. Everyone's English journey is different. Some people learn faster because they have more time. Some because they have better exposure. Some because they've been practicing for years. Your only real competition is the person you were yesterday. So when you practice English, don't look sideways, look backward. Look at how far you have come. Maybe months ago, you couldn't understand a whole YouTube video. Now you can. That's progress. Maybe before, you were too shy to speak. Now you say a few sentences. That's progress too. Celebrate that. You're not behind. You're on your own path. 3. The power of looking back. When motivation fades, the best medicine is reflection. I asked Maya to do something simple. I said, open your notebook. Go back to your first page. Read your old sentences. She opened it and began to laugh. There were so many mistakes, funny spellings, awkward grammar. But she smiled because she realized how far she'd come. That's when motivation returned. So here's a tip for you. Keep a small English journal. Write 3 sentences every day about your life. After a few weeks, read your old entries. You'll see how much your English and your confidence has grown. It's a quiet kind of pride, the kind that fills you with peace. 4. When you feel tired, rest. Don't quit. Sometimes you just feel tired. Not lazy, not unmotivated, just human. Maya once told me, I missed 2 days of practice. I feel like I failed. And I said, no, you didn't fail. You just needed a break. Even the best learners rest. Even the strongest minds need silence sometimes. You don't lose progress when you rest. You lose progress when you quit. So if you ever feel burnout, take a gentle break. Watch a movie in English. Listen to music. Let your mind breathe. Then come back, slowly, softly, when you're ready. Because learning is a long journey, not a race. 5. Find joy in the journey, not just the goal. Many learners say, I'll be happy when I speak fluently. But if happiness only lives in the future, you'll always feel like it's far away. What if you could find joy today in the process itself? Maya started to enjoy learning when she stopped chasing perfection. She listened to English songs and translated the lyrics. She watched short films with subtitles. She talked to herself about her day. And slowly, learning became fun, not forced. So ask yourself, how can I make English a part of what I love? If you love food, watch English cooking videos. If you love stories, listen to English audiobooks. If you love people, join conversation circles online. When English connects with your joy, you'll never need motivation because your heart will do the work. 6. The why that keeps you going. Motivation fades when your why becomes blurry. So, I asked Maya one question. Why are you learning English? She paused for a long moment. Then said, because I want to feel free to talk to anyone, anywhere. That was her why. Your why is your invisible fuel. It's what pulls you forward when you don't feel like studying. Maybe your why is to get a better job. Maybe it's to study abroad. Maybe it's to understand your favorite movies without subtitles. Whatever it is, write it down. Put it somewhere you'll see every day. When you feel tired or lost, read it again. Your why will remind you that this journey is worth it. 7. The invisible change. After 6 months, Maya didn't even notice how much she had changed. Her voice was calmer. Her words flowed easier. She didn't stop between sentences anymore. One day, she recorded a short video of herself speaking English. When she compared it to her old one, she started crying happy tears. She said, Zara, I didn't realize how much I've grown. That's the secret of slow progress. It's invisible at first, but one day it becomes undeniable. You'll surprise yourself too. Not suddenly, but slowly, beautifully, quietly. So when you feel like giving up, remember, progress is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it hides inside your small, daily actions. Keep showing up. Keep listening. Keep speaking. Even on the days you feel stuck. Because one day, you'll look back and realize you didn't just learn English. You built patience, faith, and strength. And those qualities will stay with you forever. When Maya reached her 6th month of learning English, she had already built courage, patience, and small daily habits. But now she faced a new challenge, staying consistent. She told me, Zara, some days I'm full of energy. I listen, speak, and practice. But other days, I just can't do it. I lose focus. I smiled and said, that's normal, Maya. Motivation starts your journey, but consistency keeps it alive. 1. Why consistency is more important than intensity. Most learners think progress comes from big study sessions. But real fluency doesn't grow in one long day. It grows in many small days. Think of brushing your teeth. You don't brush for 3 hours once a week. You brush for 2 minutes every day. That's what keeps your teeth healthy. It's the same with English. A short, steady routine is better than random bursts of energy. Because every day you touch English, your brain stays warm. Your memory stays active. Your connection with the language stays alive. So the rule is simple. A little every day is better than a lot once in a while. Even 10 minutes matters. 2. The anchor habit method. Maya was often busy, so I helped her create an anchor habit. An anchor habit is something small you do every day at the same time or after the same activity. It keeps your learning automatic. Here's how it works. After brushing her teeth, she listened to a short English podcast. After dinner, she watched one short English video. Before bed, she wrote 2 English sentences about her day. No pressure. No big schedule. Just small, repeatable actions. Because when your English habit is tied to something you already do, you don't need willpower, it happens naturally. That's what true consistency looks like. 3. The 2-minute rule. On days when Maya felt tired, I told her to follow the 2-minute rule. It's simple. If it takes less than 2 minutes to start, do it now. For example, open an English video. Write 1 English sentence. Read 1 paragraph aloud. Once you start, your brain often keeps going longer than 2 minutes. Because starting is the hardest part. Consistency isn't about working for hours. It's about never skipping the start. Even if you only study for 2 minutes, you're still sending your brain this message: I don't quit. I keep the habit alive. 4. Turning English into your environment. You don't always need a book or class to practice. You can live in English right where you are. Here's how. Change your phone language to English. Read product labels, signs, and menus in English. Watch movies with English subtitles, not translations. Think in English for a few minutes every day. You can even talk to yourself. What am I doing now? I'm cooking dinner. I'm walking to work. I'm feeling excited today. When you think and speak like this, English becomes part of your daily world, not a separate subject. That's the secret of consistency. You don't study English anymore, you live it. 5. The motivation loop. Many learners think they need motivation to stay consistent. But actually, it's the other way around. You don't need motivation to act. You need action to create motivation. When you do something small, like listen to a podcast, you feel good. That small success gives you motivation. And that motivation leads to the next action. This is called the motivation loop. Action, success, motivation, more action. So don't wait to feel ready. Just start and let the motivation come after. 6. Tracking your progress. To help Maya stay consistent, I asked her to use a simple calendar. Each day she practiced English, she drew a small green check mark. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, a chain of green marks began to grow. And soon, she didn't want to break that chain. That's called the don't break the chain method. It's a simple but powerful trick to build momentum. You'll start to feel proud, not just because of your results, but because of your effort. And remember, progress you can see keeps your heart strong. 7. How to stay consistent when life gets busy. Maya sometimes had stressful weeks, family visits, extra office work, long days. So we built a flexible routine. Instead of one fixed plan, she had levels of learning. Level 1, busy day, listen to English while doing chores. Level 2, normal day, 15 minutes reading or speaking. Level 3, free day, 30+ minutes full study session. This way, she never felt guilty. Even on her busiest days, she could still do something. And something is always better than nothing. Because fluency doesn't need perfection, it needs presence. 8. The reward system. Consistency becomes easier when you reward yourself. After each week of practice, Maya would give herself a small treat, a favorite snack, a walk in the park, a fun English movie. Our brains love reward. It tells your mind, this habit feels good, do it again. So every time you complete your English practice, say it proudly. I kept my promise today. That's how you train your brain to love consistency. 9. Falling, failing, and returning. Sometimes you'll break your streak. You'll skip a few days, maybe even a week. That's okay. When that happens, don't say, I failed. Say, I'm restarting. Fluency is not a straight line. It's a circle. You fall, you return, you continue. Every comeback makes you stronger. Consistency is not about never missing a day. It's about never giving up completely. So when you fall, get up with kindness, not guilt, because you're still growing. 10. The identity shift. One evening, Maya said something beautiful. She told me, Zara, I think I'm not just learning English anymore. I'm living it. And I smiled. Because that's the moment she truly became consistent. You see, when English becomes part of your identity, you don't need to remind yourself to practice. You just do it naturally. She no longer said, I'm trying to learn English. She said, I'm an English speaker and I practice every day. That small change in self-image created unstoppable growth. Because when you become the kind of person who speaks English daily, consistency becomes effortless. So, my friend, if you want to stay consistent, don't chase perfection. Chase connection. Make English part of your mornings, your walks, your thoughts, your laughter. Let it live with you. Let it breathe with you. Because fluency isn't built in a day. It's built in the rhythm of everyday life. After months of daily practice, Maya could finally speak and think in English with ease. But there was still one thing missing: real connection. She was ready to test her English outside her notebook, outside her practice sessions, outside her comfort zone. Because fluency is not just about words, it's about using those words to live, to connect, to express who you are. 1. The first real conversation. One Saturday morning, Maya went to a small cafe in her city. At the counter, a tourist couple was looking confused, trying to order breakfast. The waiter didn't speak much English, so they struggled. For a moment, Maya hesitated. Her old fear returned, the little voice in her head whispering, what if you make a mistake? But then she remembered her mantra. Fluency begins where perfection ends. So she took a small breath and stepped forward. Can I help you? She said. Her voice trembled just a little. The couple smiled in relief. She helped them order, translated a few words for the waiter, and even shared a short laugh. It lasted only 2 minutes, but for Maya, it felt like magic. She didn't just speak English. She lived it. That small moment changed everything. 2. The real-world rule. After that day, Maya learned something powerful. The real classroom is the world around you. You can study grammar, vocabulary, and listening, but the real learning happens when you use English to connect. So she started practicing everywhere. Greeting people at her office in English. Ordering food or coffee using English words. Talking to travelers or new friends online. Each small conversation built a bridge, from knowledge to confidence. And that's what I want you to do too. Don't wait until you're ready. You'll never feel fully ready. Start with what you have now. Because every real conversation, no matter how short, is a step toward true fluency. 3. Making English emotional. Fluency doesn't come from rules alone. It comes from emotion. When you laugh in English, cry in English, get excited or curious in English, your memory becomes stronger. Maya realized this when she joined an online storytelling club. Every week, she listened to people from around the world share personal stories about love, travel, childhood, and dreams. She laughed. She felt moved. She even shared her own story one day about the first time she dared to speak English in public. The moment she finished, people from different countries clapped and said, "Beautiful story, Maya." She told me later, "Zara, that was the first time I felt like English wasn't just a language, it was a feeling." That's when she truly understood it. To speak English well, you must feel it deeply. 4. Find your English community. No one grows fluency alone. We grow faster when we connect. Maya joined an online group of English learners from different countries: India, Brazil, Egypt, Japan. Every weekend, they met on video calls to talk about movies, hobbies, or culture. Sometimes they made mistakes. Sometimes they laughed at funny misunderstandings. But every conversation made English more natural. Because when learning feels like friendship, it stops feeling like work. So find your community. It could be a language app, a study group, a Discord or WhatsApp chat, or even a friend who's also learning. The rule is simple. If you talk in English every week, you'll grow every week. 5. Speak with curiosity, not perfection. When Maya first spoke to foreigners, she worried too much about grammar. But I told her something that changed her mindset. Fluency is not perfect grammar, it's perfect curiosity. Curiosity means asking questions. It means wanting to understand people. And that's the secret. People love when you're interested, not perfect. So instead of focusing on perfect sentences, Maya started focusing on connection. She asked things like, "Where are you from? What do you like about your city? What's your favorite movie?" Simple questions. But through them, she built friendships and confidence. Because curiosity opens hearts, and that's what English is for. 6. Using English in your passions. Fluency becomes stronger when you mix it with things you love. Maya loved cooking. So she started following English food vloggers, watching recipes, and writing down new words. When she tried those recipes, she spoke aloud to herself. "Now I'm chopping the onions. I'm adding salt. I'm stirring the soup." She was learning, but it didn't feel like studying. It felt like living. So ask yourself, what do you love? Music? Art? Technology? Sports? Whatever it is, find it in English. That way, your learning feels alive. 7. The day English opened a door. 3 months later, Maya applied for a new position at work. The interview was in English. She was nervous, of course. But she had practiced speaking every day. She knew she could handle it. During the interview, she smiled, spoke clearly, and shared her experiences confidently. And a week later, she got the job. When she called me, her voice was shaking, but this time with joy. She said, "Zara, English gave me a new life. Not because it's a language, but because it helped me believe in myself." I felt tears in my eyes. Because that's what English really does. It opens not just doors, but hearts. 8. Keep living in English. Once you start using English in daily life, it becomes easier and more natural. Here are small ways you can live in English too. Text your friends in English sometimes. Write your shopping list in English. Watch a funny video and describe it aloud. Listen to English podcasts during your walk. Post a short English caption online, something real about your day. Each small action reminds your brain, "I live in English now." And slowly, English stops being a subject. It becomes part of your story. 9. The magic of connection. Language is not just about words. It's about connection. When you speak English, you're not just practicing pronunciation. You're sharing your thoughts, your feelings, your story. And when someone understands you, that moment, that tiny spark of connection is the real reward. That's why I always tell my students, don't learn English to impress. Learn it to express. When you speak with kindness and honesty, your English doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be you. So now, my dear listener, you've come a long way from waiting for the right time to living your journey with courage and connection. You don't just speak English now. You live it. Every word you say carries your growth, your story, your confidence. And remember this, fluency isn't just about speaking better. It's about becoming braver. There's a moment in every learner's journey when English stops being something you study and starts becoming a part of who you are. It's not just about words anymore. It's about identity, confidence, and discovery. And that's the stage Maya reached. The stage of transformation. 1. The new voice. One evening, Maya looked at her old notebook, the one she used when she first started learning English. She flipped through the pages. The handwriting was shaky. The sentences were simple. She smiled softly. Those words were from a different version of herself, a shy woman who was afraid to speak, afraid to be seen. Now, when she spoke English, her voice was clear and alive. Not because her accent was perfect, but because she spoke with confidence. That's when she realized something beautiful. I didn't just learn English. I learned to speak, to believe in my own voice. Every new language gives you a new voice, a new way to express who you are. For Maya, English became her bridge to courage. 2. Confidence beyond words. When you speak another language, something special happens inside you. You start to see yourself differently. You feel capable, curious, brave. You realize you can face challenges, you can make mistakes and keep going, you can connect with people far away. This confidence doesn't stop with English. It spreads to every part of your life. Maya told me, Zara, after learning English, I started feeling stronger in everything I do. She became more social at work. She joined group discussions. She started saying yes to new opportunities. Because when you learn to express yourself, you also learn to trust yourself. 3. The mirror moment. One morning, Maya stood in front of her mirror. She spoke aloud in English, just practicing her daily affirmations. She said, I am learning every day. I am proud of myself. I can communicate clearly. At first, it felt funny. But after a few days, those words started to feel real. Her reflections seemed different, not because she looked different, but because she felt different. That's what transformation looks like. It begins quietly, and then suddenly, you see yourself in a new light. When you change the way you speak, you change the way you think. And when you change the way you think, you change who you are. 4. The emotional freedom. Before English, Maya often kept her feelings inside. She didn't always have the words to express them. But once she found her English voice, she discovered emotional freedom. She could now say things like, I feel grateful. I am worried. I'm proud of myself. That made me happy. Simple sentences, but they gave her power. She could finally name her emotions. And when you can name something, you can understand it. That's one of the hidden gifts of language. It teaches you to understand yourself. 5. The shift in identity. When people learn a new language, they often notice a strange thing. They act a little differently in that language. They smile more. They move differently. They even think differently. That's because every language carries a personality, a rhythm, a way of seeing the world. Maya noticed this too. When she spoke Bengali, her tone was soft, respectful, gentle. But when she spoke English, she felt more direct, expressive, confident. At first, she thought it was strange. But then she realized, it's not two people. It's two sides of me. Learning English helped her discover parts of herself she never knew. The curious side. The brave side. The storyteller inside her. That's the power of transformation. It doesn't make you someone else, it helps you meet the real you. 6. The world opens up. With English, the world becomes bigger. You can read books written by people from faraway places. You can watch movies without subtitles. You can make friends from other cultures. You can travel, learn, and dream differently. Maya began watching TED Talks, listening to podcasts, and writing comments in English communities online. Each click, each post, was a window to a new world. And each time someone replied to her comment, she smiled and thought, I'm part of this world now. That's the true transformation, when you stop being a student of English and become a citizen of the world. 7. Teaching others. A few months later, Maya started helping new learners in her area. She shared the same tips I once gave her: speak a little every day. Don't worry about mistakes. Focus on expressing, not impressing. She became a guide, a small light for others who were afraid to start. That's when I realized learning English isn't just a personal goal. It's a circle of growth. You learn, you grow, and one day, you help someone else do the same. And that's the moment when learning becomes meaning. 8. The real transformation. Transformation isn't about speaking perfectly. It's about becoming confident enough to be imperfect. It's about changing from, I can't do this, to, I'll try anyway. It's about feeling comfortable in your own voice in any language. Maya once said, I no longer wait for the right time. Now, I make the time right. That's transformation. Not waiting. Not fearing. Just living. 9. You're changing too. And maybe, as you listen to this, you're changing too. Maybe you've started to believe that you can speak English with confidence. Maybe you've started thinking in English. Or maybe you've simply stopped being afraid. That's transformation too, quiet, invisible, but powerful. Remember, every word you learn, every small conversation you try, every mistake you correct, it's all part of your growth. English is not a subject anymore. It's a journey of becoming more you. 10. Reflection and takeaway. So tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself, how have I changed since I started learning English? Maybe you're more patient. Maybe you're more open-minded. Maybe you're more confident. That's your real success. You don't need to sound like a native speaker. You just need to sound like yourself. Because English is not about imitation. It's about expression. So keep going. Keep growing. And never forget, you are not learning English to pass a test. You're learning it to tell your story. So here we are, the final step of our journey together. You've walked through fear, through hesitation, through silence, and now you stand in confidence. Not perfect, not finished, but growing, glowing, and alive. Because fluency isn't a destination. It's a way of living. 1. Looking back. Think back to where you started. Maybe you were scared to speak. Maybe you thought, my English is not good enough. Maybe you waited for the right time. But now you know, the right time was never waiting for you. You had to create it. Every small effort, every practice session, every mistake you faced with courage brought you here. And that's what learning really means. Not speed, not perfection, but consistency. You didn't give up. You kept showing up. And that's why you've changed. 2. The power of the journey. Most people think fluency is about how many words you know. But that's not true. Fluency is how comfortable you feel being yourself in English. It's how naturally you can share your thoughts, laugh, dream, and express who you are. And that comfort comes only from the journey, from practice, mistakes, and small victories. So if sometimes you still feel shy, that's okay. If sometimes you forget a word, that's okay too. Even native speakers do. What matters is you keep speaking, you keep trying, you keep growing. 3. The sound of growth. Do you know what real growth sounds like? It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It sounds like small whispers of progress, the quiet aha moment when you finally understand a sentence. The proud smile when someone understands your accent. The gentle joy when you can think in English without translating. That's the music of progress, soft but steady. So celebrate it. Celebrate the sound of your own growth. Because those small moments are not small at all. They're the real proof that you're becoming fluent, not just in English, but in life. 4. A life in 2 languages. Language is more than words. It's how we see the world. Now, you carry 2 ways of seeing, 2 ways of thinking, feeling, and dreaming. That's a gift. When you speak your first language, you speak from your roots. When you speak English, you speak from your growth. And together, they make you whole. So don't compare yourself to others. Your journey is your own. Your story is unique. You're not behind. You're becoming. 5. Living fluently. Fluency is not only about speaking English, it's about living it. When you describe your day in English, when you think of a word before sleeping, when you dream or laugh or cry in English, that's fluency. It's when English becomes part of your everyday life. And soon, you'll stop noticing the difference. You'll just be you. Confident. Expressive. Free. That's what I want for you. Not just to learn English, but to live fluently. 6. The emotional reward. Do you remember the first time you understood an English song? Or the first movie scene that made you tear up without subtitles? Or the first person who said, "Wow, your English is so clear"? Those small moments, they stay with you. Because they remind you that effort turns into beauty. You worked hard. You stayed patient. And now you can understand the world in another language. That's not a small thing. That's something extraordinary. Be proud of that. 7. A message from Zara. I've been your guide, your English friend, your storyteller in this journey. But the truth is you did this. Every single word you practiced, every lesson you listened to, every brave moment you tried to speak, that was you. You turned learning into growth. You turned fear into courage. You turned English into your voice. And I'm proud of you. Truly proud. 8. The quiet takeaway. As we close this journey, remember this simple truth. You don't need to be perfect to inspire others. You just need to be honest and willing to try. Because the world doesn't need perfect English. It needs your real English. Your thoughts. Your feelings. Your heart. So speak. Even when you're unsure. Even when you make mistakes. Even when no one claps. Speak anyway. Because your voice matters. 9. A final reflection. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Think of everything you've learned. Every moment you understood something new. Every word that once felt difficult, but now feels natural. You are not the same person you were when you started. You are stronger, calmer, more confident. You're living proof that growth is possible. And even though this episode ends, your journey continues every day, every word, every small moment of courage. Thank you for walking this path with me. Thank you for trusting your voice. And thank you for being brave enough to begin. If today's story touched your heart, keep it close. Listen again whenever you forget how far you've come. And always remember, you don't need the right time to start. You just need to start to make the time right. This is Zara from Super English Talks, reminding you to keep speaking, keep dreaming, and keep believing in yourself.